Hi there everyone, welcome back. Today's video is going to be me telling you all about some wonderful classics that I am absolutely in love with. And these are just 6 of my favorites. They are not in order at all. I just love all of them. I don't think I could even list all my favorite classics in order. I just love them a lot, and I don't think it would be fair for me to rank them for you. But these are just 6 of them. They are not all of them. This video would not be here probably without Pride and Prejudice by Miss Jane Austen. And if y'all did not know, Jane Austen is one of my favorite authors of all time, next to probably Sarah J. Maas. But I absolutely fell in love with this book. I actually watched the movie when I was way younger. Probably should have read the book before I watched the movie, but I still love the book more than the movie, but still. But if you did not know what this book is about, it is set during the 19th century when it was written by Jane Austen, and we have this woman named Elizabeth Bennet, or Lizzie Bennet. It is all about her life and all of her sisters and her mother and her father and this man named Mr. Darcy. And that's all I can give you because I really don't want to spoil anything at all that happens in this book, because there's romance, there's tragedy, there's mystery, there's so much wonderfulness in this book. I love it so much. And my favorite book to movie adaptation is Pride and Prejudice, the Keira Knightley version. And if you have not seen that, please do. If you don't want to read the book, at least watch the movie because it's absolutely wonderful. But still, go read the book if you want to read the book. And if you were looking for any classics, totally recommend this one as a first one if you're not really into them or not really sure what to read. Pride and Prejudice is definitely one to start with. That would be really fantastic. The next classic that I have is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. So I absolutely love the Bronte sisters. They have written some amazing classics that I absolutely love. This is set in the Victorian, I believe, era. I would categorize this book as just a man who was in love and then seeks vengeance. I don't really know how else to describe it in such few words. Basically, we have this man named Heathcliff, and when he was a boy, he was labeled as the Gypsy Boy, and he was adopted by this man who already had 2 other children and no mother. And so this man adopts him into the family where the kids are kind of hesitant about letting them into their family, but then the daughter named Catherine, basically they form a friendship and are best friends, and then the other brother, he absolutely hates him, and it's basically his purpose in life to torture Heathcliff till the day he dies. But then as they grow older, Catherine and Heathcliff end up falling in love, and it's their story, and there's tragedy, there's betrayal, there's vengeance, there's love. It is absolutely gorgeous, a gorgeous book, and Emily Bronte just writes it so beautifully, and I have nothing else to say except this book is just an amazing classic, and everyone who's into classics totally needs to read this one. Next, I have Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. I don't think I've really talked about this book much on my channel, but I did read this book my freshman year of high school, so 5 years ago, and I haven't read it since, but still, I absolutely loved it nonetheless. Ever since freshman year, I have to say this was probably one of the first classics that I actually understood because of the translation word for word that was in this book, because I ended up watching the movies, I believe, before I read the book, and I didn't really understand the language that they spoke. I understood the actions and what they did for each other and how they fell in love and the feud between the families. I understood that just from the acting aspect, but I didn't understand the language, and I really wanted to get more into that, and so I'm really glad that this was an assigned reading my freshman year of high school. So I absolutely think it sparked my interest for reading more classics, so I had to put it on this list. Next, I have one of my favorites of all time, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Oh, this book is probably my favorite classic of all time. I'm just letting you know, I absolutely am obsessed with this book. I'm so obsessed that I have even watched every single Jane Eyre movie probably ever made. Yeah, I'm that obsessed. This is set in the 19th century. So this book is about a woman named Jane Eyre, and we follow her all the way from basically 8 years old to way into womanhood. Basically, it starts out with her being a part of this family who doesn't really want her. She lives with her aunt and her 2 cousins, and they don't really want her, so they send her to a all-female boarding school kind of thing. But it's not a boarding school, it's very abusive and kind of not welcoming at all. And Jane has to deal with living there, and then she ends up becoming a governess, and she gets a job at this place called Thornfield Hall, which is where Mr. Rochester lives, and she has to take care of his ward, Adele. It is all about Jane discovering who she is and also maybe finding some love of herself, since she has never received any love since she was a child. And oh, it's beautiful, it's heartbreaking, it's whimsical, it's everything that I want in a classic, anything that I want in a book, and it is beautiful and breathtaking, and I can't get enough of it. I'll stop now because I could probably talk about this book for literally days. If you want to read a classic, you have to read Jane Eyre, because Jane Eyre is a classic everyone needs to read. And lastly, I have to talk about To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. And yeah, it is a really beat up copy of this book. It has some holes in it, as you can see right there below. Yeah, I didn't really care what my books looked like in the 8th grade when I first read this book, so I liked to outline lettering and color on book covers. Don't judge me, I was an 8th grader, okay? But I ended up reading these books 2 years back to back. I read it in 8th grade and then again freshman year of high school, when both of them were required reads. And I went to a private middle school, so when I came in to my freshman year of high school and this was a required read, most people hadn't read it yet, and I already did. So it kind of made me look even more into the text when I had to read it, and made me love it even more because I did have to reread it and analyze it and write a paper about it and all this stuff. If you did not know what To Kill a Mockingbird is, how don't you know what To Kill a Mockingbird is? It's everywhere. But it's basically about this little girl named Scout and her brother and her father, who is a lawyer and a defense lawyer for this black man who is accused of raping a white woman in their town. And it's set in, I believe, Alabama. Yes, Alabama. And it's told from the point of view of Scout, and so it's just about her innocence, about the whole subject of the culture that they live in, and it's heartbreaking and beautiful. I love this book. I really hope that I could reread it soon, because I miss this book, and I love rewatching the movie every now and then because that's one of my favorites as well. So there you have it. Those are some classics that I am absolutely in love with and adore, but they're not all my favorites. I have more, but I just thought I would maybe make another video about the rest of the ones that I love later on. So anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Let me know down below which classics are your favorite, and if you love any of the ones that I have talked about today, or if you want to read any of the ones that I talked about today. Anyways, thank y'all so much for watching, and I will see y'all soon with a new video. Bye.